Greetings, Uncle Travelling Matt here, and I'm reporting back at the end of my second full day in Italy. Last night I spoke to you, that was before we went for our meal, so we went for this meal at the restaurant in the village, full of local specialities, and oh my god, it was one of the best meals I have ever had in my life. It was, I think there was 4 antipasti, and the first one was, it was cooked meat like I've never had before. It was so tasty. It was homemade with local organic pork. Oh, it was unbelievable. But the whole thing was fantastic, and it was a beautiful establishment. And according to our hosts, the restaurant was it had been like a cafe or something like that back in the day, but it was bought a generation or so ago by a guy who moved to the village, and I think he was the youngest of 5 brothers, but he was a bit of a go-getter, and he opened this restaurant, and he was obsessed with the history of the village, so he made it like a shrine of history to the village, and there's all these old photos on the wall. It's brilliant. But although it's like the building's not modern, it is an old building, but although the whole thing is modern, it feels like it's been the same for centuries, and the menu is very traditional home cooking. It's not innovative at all. And he set up this restaurant. He made a success of it. And then when he looked out, he saw the castle, and he didn't like that it was ruined. So he vowed that he would restore the castle. So he invited important people to dine in his restaurant. And while he was there, talked about the castle, and eventually got the castle restored, got it turned into a museum. And so what a wonderful guy, and what a wonderful establishment, Michelin star restaurant. So that was that. Moving on to today, woke up very early, or at least for me. We were out of the house probably 8 something, and we set off to I forget what the place is called, but it's a sanctuary or an abbey of Saint Michael, and it's in the Alps, about 1,000 meters up, and to the west of Turin. And what a wonderful place! What an absolutely incredible place! And daft as it sounds, because the former is by the sea, it's a tidal island. But I felt like it was Mont Saint Michele. Even the approach was similar. Like you walked, from one mountain and a bit of a gap, like it's almost like when you cross the sea, and then you climb up, and it's a very steep climb up to this Romanesque abbey. And we went early because there was a mass on. So we went to this mass, and there was this choir singing. It was absolutely glorious, and it was just one of those places with this intense spiritual energy to it. And again, I just felt like I was back at Mont Saint Michele, which was somewhere that for some reason did seem to have an energy. And of course, the two are on a line, and this line it's something that's long interested Pierluigi. And this line starts in Sacra Michael in Ireland, or off the coast of Ireland, and then it goes to St. Michael's Mount in Cornwall, and then Mont Saint Michele. Then this Abbey of St. Michael in Piedmont, and then there's Mont Saint Angelo in southern Italy, where we've been, and then there's a monastery of St. Michael in, I think, Simnos in Greece, and then some people say it ends on a Michelian Institute on the mountain behind Haifa. I forget the name of it. Hermon? No. Whatever. But others say it's Jerusalem. But the idea is that there's this line, and all these Michael sites are on this straight line. One of those mysteries, those great unexplained mysteries. But we went to the service and had a look round. It was unbelievable views across the Alps. A lot of people there, but it wasn't too much. And then there's a ruins of a more modern kind of abbey next to it, I say modern, like 15th to 17th century, and that's like, it's part of the complex, but it's a bit lower down. and then we went and had a coffee and moved on. Can't tell you much about the journey because I fell asleep. Yeah, I guess that's what happens when you wake up so early. But I believe the area was the one that they used for the Giro d'Italia. And then we went into Turin, and it's another of these Roman cities, so it's on a grid pattern, but we walked through the streets. But what we did is we went to two museums. The first one's called MAO, the Museum of Asian Art, and the reason we went in them is a special day today. It's the Annunciation of the Virgin Mary. No, Assumption of the Virgin Mary. And so because it's a national holiday, they were like discounted tickets, so you could get in the museums and the special exhibitions for €1 each, where it's normally about €10 for a ticket. So we went on this Museum of Asiatic Art. The special exhibition was on Buddha, and it was very conceptual. I didn't quite understand what the concept was. It was mildly interesting, but the actual Asiatic art section was very good. They had a very good Kandahar section, good stuff on Japan, a lot of Chinese funerary monuments. Southeast Asia was good, weak on Islam and weak on Hindu stuff. I think the guy who collected it, and I think he was an old Italian ambassador to the East. He was big on Buddhism, I think. So there was that. Then we went onwards. We walked on through the streets to Turin Cathedral, which is not that remarkable, the Cathedral of John the Baptist, except, of course, that within Turin Cathedral is one of the most remarkable things in the world, which is the Turin Shroud. Now, you're not allowed to see the shroud. I think they show it about once every 10 years, but we did go to the chapel where it's kept and sat and looked at where it is under a blanket or whatever. And of course, there's an exposition on the shroud. I've heard it's a fake. Other people are convinced it's real. What I will say, whoever did fake it, because the image is kind of burned into the cloth, however they did it, it was pretty damn remarkable. And it is, whether fake or real, it's a mystery. It's a mystery as to how it was made and how it survived so well for so long and all this kind of stuff. So anyway, that was Turin Cathedral. And then we went on to our second museum, so there's the Royal Palace, and then next to it is Madame's Palace. Madame was the Queen. She didn't want to share the palace with the king. So they took an old fort, which had previously been a Roman gate, and then basically shoved this big Baroque facade on it. So it looks a bit incongruous, and that was this palace. But it's now a museum, and it's a museum with all the stuff you'd expect, a lot of Renaissance art, a lot of, very gilded mirrors, and great paintings of biblical scenes and all that kind of stuff. But in the main basement room, there was a very good exposition on the Camino Via Francigena, which runs through Piedmont, and I really liked that. And then upstairs there was an exposition on Byzantine art with a fantastic video reconstruction of Constantinople in its heyday, and of course I recognised a lot of the buildings from my trips there. So that was that. We had an ice cream and a coffee on the way back, and then went home, and we had a lovely evening sitting outside with a glorious meal. We ate truffles that we bought yesterday. They don't taste a lot, but they smell very nice. Had them grated onto fried eggs. Didn't know that was what you do with truffles, but yeah. And some more excellent wine. Last night at the table we had a conversation on how to appreciate wine in emotional way. I'm learning. Thomas is enjoying it too. Anyway, that's me, Uncle Travelling Mark. Keep travelling.